is a special feeling in Oldsmobile. There is a special feeling in Oldsmobile.
Hey, welcome back to my channel. And I just realized I'm not very good at doing video blogs because I've done a whole lot of work to my car, and I had these great intentions of I'm going to video everything I do so I have a record of everything I do, and then I didn't do it. So I did a whole bunch of stuff to the car since the last time I posted a video, but this time I'll just walk through and show you guys what I've done so far and what is yet to go. So far, having a really good time, no major surprises, a couple little things, but we'll see. Let me give you a brief look around what I've done. The first thing, I think last time I posted was when I had just bought the car and I took it in for a smog check. Here in California, they're pretty strict, especially on older cars. And I didn't do anything to the car, I just wanted to take a smog check to see what the baseline was. And of course I failed. But what I ended up doing is just basically ignition. I changed the spark plugs, new ignition wires, coil. Then I ran all the gas down and filled it with just a little bit of gas. I went to the auto parts store and got some fuel injector cleaner with antifreeze in it. So it was a very high percentage of fuel injection cleaner with fuel no freeze or whatever it is in the fuel tank. Drove the car for about 30 minutes, got it nice and hot. Took it into the smog check place and it passed with flying colors. Huge difference those few things did. And as a bonus, the car idles better, accelerates smoother. So obviously that stuff needed to be done. I just didn't want to do anything I didn't have to do until I knew I needed to. So pass smog, check one. A second issue I had was with the a noise in the suspension in the rear wheel, the rear passenger's rear wheel. Every time I went over a bump, it made a very big clunky noise. So thanks to YouTube, I started looking around and finding that a lot of times that is just a loose disc brake pad. So I took the rear wheel apart, bought some new brake pads, and found out that the little clip was not really holding the pad in place. So whenever the wheel would jump, the pad would make a noise. If I touched the brake slightly, it fixed the problem, so I knew that was it. Problem I had was working with that piston back there. It really was old, cruddy, and the bleed screw was just, it didn't even operate. So I had to do a really rudimentary brake bleeding job. And I gotta finish it off. I need some new bleed screws, and then I will finish the other wheel and bleed the whole system. But so far so good. The car does still stop. The noise is gone, so that was awesome to get that done. The other thing I was able to do was more aesthetic things. So then I started working on some of the things. I really want to take the car and make it as original as possible and fix any of the minor things. So I think last time I posted, I had replaced the radio with one I got off eBay and rebuilt the tape deck and got those things going. So those are operational, which is cool. The next thing I did was I worked on the power antenna, which was broken. It was bent, so it didn't, the motor worked, it just didn't go up and down all the way. So what I was able to do was I couldn't find the exact original antenna used anywhere. And I tried getting one of those universal ones, but the cap on top of the fender was all chrome. And this is a Trofeo, you know, everything is dark. And it just didn't look right. So I sent that back. And what I ended up doing is I got a power antenna from a Cutlass of the same era. And I basically took the two apart and I used the antenna mast from the Cutlass, but put it in the case of the Trofeo, so that when it's down, you'll see that the tip of the antenna is chrome, but the bezel around the frame is the original one that is a dark color. So I'm satisfied with that. Took a little farting around, but I was able to get it done. The next thing I was really set on getting was the original rims. As you remember, when I bought this car, it had rims that looked like they were Oldsmobile rims, but they were actually white. And I later found out that they were from that, they were aftermarket rims that were put on after the car was purchased. So when I was in Arizona, I did some junkyard shopping and was able to get 2 rims that were original to this car. And the guy there was able to find 2 more for me that they shipped to me. So I found that. I wasn't able to find the original center caps. I ended up getting center caps that are, I think, from like a 98 or an 88 of that era, but they're red. Kind of thought they looked cool because they kind of go with the red interior of this car. But what I can tell, the original center caps were black and had the very stylized T Trofeo logo. But I did that and it made the car look much more original. I've been working a lot on the interior and trying to get that restored as much as possible. One of the things that I'm taking on is repairing this huge crack that I had in the armrest. And that was something that it was missing chunks of plastic. So I actually was able to buy some leather filler and I put a soft cloth behind it and slowly have been building up the armrest with the filler so that it's soft and pliable. I put it on, dry it with a hair dryer, sand it down, and it's smooth, so it doesn't have the same grain as the surrounding area, but it's getting to look really well. It's very a long process. I'll put a coat on, let it dry for a day, sand it, come back later. So that's just something I've been doing slowly but surely. I've also been using that to fill in the leather creases in the seats. And what I will do is I've got some custom ordered color matched leather dye. So once I've filled in all the creases, I'll be able to re-dye the leather. So I'm hoping that that comes out and looks good, and want to get those front seats, which are great because they have no rips in them, to look as fresh as possible. Some of the other things, I've been working on the dashboard, you know, that soft dash. I've been using super glue and clamps and trying to put that back together so that it has, it's no longer wavy and it's straight. I have a little piece left under the ashtray I need to do. I went through the interior lights and actually swapped them out for LEDs, which has been a fun job. It gives the interior of the car a totally different look with kind of the more white lights that are there. So that's been very fun too. So now I'm going to, next things on my list, the things I want to do next are the headliner. I've ordered some samples of headliners so I can try to match the material, but I understand from what I've been reading online, that's going to be a big job, taking that headliner cover out and putting new fabric on that. Luckily I have a sunroof, so it's not a huge area that needs to be covered, but it's I know that's going to be a difficult project to do that as well. I also have some body work I want to do. There's I got some paint that I got to match. On the front fender there is some scratches in the paint that's just been like touched up with a really bad touch-up brush, so I'll be working on that as well. Haven't cleaned the carpet, anything like that. Most of the plastics inside are really good, but I desperately need a new dash bezel. Apparently it's missing one of the air conditioning vents, and at one point the one below it somebody just super glued into place, so I can't even just replace the vents. The whole bezel is kind of messed up with super glue, so hopefully I'll be able to find one of those. Around back, I did the antenna as I talked about, but I also found the original Toronado Trofeo emblem on the back, which I didn't have, which this car didn't have. I actually have it in the glove box. It broke and fell off apparently the previous owner, so I was able to find an original one and put that back on. I was also able to take the whole tail light assembly apart. I was going to do it all LED lights, but I decided not to. I have just the lights in the middle I've done LED, but the turn, brake, and all that I left regular lights. The reason I took that all apart was I actually had spider webs in there. Some spider had made home in there, so every time you turn the brakes on, you saw spider webs. And that's about it. I've got a couple more things I want to do. aesthetically, and then I'm going to give it a really good detail. Mechanically, so far so good. I mean, after battery and ignition, I did put a new alternator in also. The alternator wasn't producing enough power, so that was an issue. But beyond that, I think mechanically, so far, knock on wood, no major issues, no leaks. Did an oil change. So far so good there. Little worried about the air conditioner. I don't think that has been swapped out with the new refrigerant yet. So we'll see how that goes. So that's basically a summary of where we're at with the Trofeo. And hopefully I'll do a little bit better on keeping a video blog of what I do. As always, if you enjoy the video, like, subscribe, and if you have suggestions for things I should be doing or taking advantage of while I have the car, let me know in the comments. Thanks.